What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jay-Z Bottom Lip, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about poke cancels and cancels in general. Poke cancels are very important to learn at a high level, just for the sense that you can create another layer of a mind game and mental stack off of things that you once weren't doing once upon a time. There's a character that's really known for it in this game, but I'm pretty sure you guys all know it, which is Raiden. Raiden had a really strong game plan back then where he can do like down poke into Storm Cell, down 3 into Storm Cell, and so on and so forth. That was really strong in the game. They kind of took away his down poke into Storm Cell, like down 1. You can still do down 4, down 3, but down 1 they took away just because of the mind game that it could play. And what I mean by the mind game is that once you see your opponent do a down 1, you essentially think you could take your turn back with a high, or even this counter poke with another poke and reversal to your opponent down poking you. But you couldn't necessarily do that against Raiden back then. So poke cancel was very strong. Now there is still characters that still play off of that, and I intentionally play off of it with these two characters, and I wanted to show you guys how I play poke cancel at the highest level. Essentially what I would like to do is when I'm playing footsies with my opponent, when I do things like this allows me to be able to steal turns because my opponent may be scared of a poke cancel. And what I mean by that is that I can go up like this and essentially grab my opponent, or I can do something where a lot of people get hit by it, which is shimmy. So essentially, I want to do something like this and throw my opponent off. But when they're looking out for it, it becomes a mental stack that they're aware of. And now I could play a different mind game and play off of layers where I could down 1, dash up, down forward, dash up into a shimmy. This might seem very basic and simple, but I promise you a lot of people get hit by it. So now what I can do, which Mortal Kombat 1 allows me to do, is that now I can create safe mind game like this. Now I can do things like this, and I can create mind games off of that. I can even do things like this and grab my opponent. This is really strong because now I can do things like this. Safe jump, grab again. This right here is very, 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 very strong. You can even start the match off with something like that, or you can even dash up, grab, and you can create mind games off of that. But essentially what you can do is that you can down poke and play off your down poke, throw your opponent off, and go for a grab. And then you can essentially get the first hit if this is how you want to start the game off. But you also can play off your down 4 because your down 4 pushes your opponent back at a certain range. And since it does that, it makes your opponent have to come towards you if they are a rush down character. But if they're a character that can play at a range, this is also very strong because depending on what character that you're playing at a range, if they throw or wanted to decide to throw a projectile, you're OSing by down poking, and they can use forward 2 to punish your opponent. Now, let's say that you didn't hit confirm and your opponent gets hit. Essentially like your forward 3. Forward 3 could be a little hard. Not really, but it can be a little hard to hit confirm. You can delay. A lot of people don't talk about that. You can delay this if they get hit. And if they don't get hit, you don't have to press a button. But if you suck at hit confirming, you can essentially cover these options with a cameo. And Goro does a really good job at this because essentially what happens is when you go for this move on block, your opponent most likely wants to down 2 or jump in the air with you. Up blocking has become unnecessary in this matchup or in this situation now because of the simple fact that she can cancel her she can cancel like her moves in the air and she can get away. So people don't necessarily like to up block anymore because that's something that like the game, when the game first came out or so, this is like first layer if you want to say. So now you can cover your options with things like this, right? And this will throw your opponent off. Then you can go for a grab because you're plus. And then you can get your guaranteed mix. And then you can create mind games off that. Grab them again if you decide to. And just remember, everything that you just did right here, as far as in how much health that your opponent has lost, was all because of a throw and safe mix. But all of this leads to a special poke cancel. So Rather than just doing overhead or doing strings like this, you can do pokes, because pokes are more they're better. I'll say they're better at creating mind games and opening your opponent up, because most of the time when your opponent sees a down 1, down 4, down 1, things like this, your opponent essentially wants to take their turn back, or they would like to back up into buttons. And when you do special cancel moves like this will throw your opponent off just enough where you can take your turn. And if you hit your opponent with something like this will most likely scare them to the point where they'll watch out and be more careful of taking their turn back after a poke. Now you can play off of your poke. So now when I say these things, when I'm training you guys and I say, now you can start playing off of your poke, this is essentially what I mean. You can start this doing down 1, you can dash up, grab, you can start doing this, backing up, do it again, dash up, grab again. You can start like dashing up in their face and then shimmy. You can even do things like this just to throw them off once or twice. You don't want to just keep doing it all the time, but this is really good just to throw your opponent off here and there. You can start doing things like this, and this will throw them off too. You can even cancel here, and this is when you start adding like your own little mix to it. There it is. So you can do things like that. Throw it off. You can even do things like this too. This will throw your opponent off too. So now you're freestyling. Now you have learned how to play off of poke cancels, and now you're playing in a way where it's complementing to you. It makes more sense. You're having fun with the game, and you're not following the design that everyone wants to follow, which essentially is called meta. Now you're playing in a way that's comfortable for you. You're having fun with the game, and you're standing out more than other Ashra players, because now you have created your own idea of fun, but not only that, but your own way of pressure and create mind games, layers, and so on and so forth. Once you understand these terminologies that I'm teaching you guys, you can start remixing them and putting them in ways that make sense for you. But also, not only are you having making sense of it, but you're having fun at the same time and enjoying the game. When you stop having fun with the game, it's because you are so focused on winning and playing in the way that everyone else is playing, and they're winning with it and you're not winning with it, because it's still things that you're missing out on and you're not adding to your playstyle because you're mimicking other people's playstyles. And this creates this frustration that I can't do what everyone else is doing, so I should not play the game. And remember, the number one thing that I always tell people is have fun with the game. So find ways to have fun with the game. It goes essentially the same way with Rain. The reason why I like playing Range Striker is because Range Striker allows me to have more pressure than any other cameo. I can do things like this, and I can get a safe jump. I can create mind games and so on and so forth. I can even do something like this where my opponent cannot really see where I'm at, and all that combo, by the way. I can do things like this, create mind games, and so on and so forth. These things are very, very strong. Once players learn how to step out of their boundaries and have fun with the game, you can start creating different cool things. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to show you this one is because it's essentially the same way when it goes with Ashra. The thing about Rain, in my opinion, is that Rain has a really strong wake up, but at the same time, it's really bad if your opponent does block it. I think he has problems with taking his turn back because most of his strings are slow. So like what I mean by that is that if you hit your opponent with a down 3 right here, your opponent still can be able to jump. Show you really quick. I don't have anything to really like gel. See how my opponent can still jump here? No matter how fast I am, no matter how good I am. Okay, this might be okay. I might be really good. Okay, all right. But from max range, right? I can't gel this. See how they're jumping out of this? I can't gel off this. And I can't gel off of that. See that? And I can't do something like this because they'll still get hit, right? So what I like to do is I like to do things like this. This will also open my opponent up if they're trying to OS jump, if they're trying to take their turn back too quickly, or if I'm being pressured too much and I want to do a down poke into special move, I can do that with this character. This is really strong for me. I don't know. I like it. It helps me as a player. Now I get a safe jump and I can, keep pressure and so on and so forth. This stuff is really strong to me because now what happens is my opponent would become very scared at me doing down pokes. So now I can do things like this and I can start throwing my opponent off. Or I could even essentially do this and it's still my turn. So this was essentially what Cyrax was doing for Raiden, but now it has too much. The pushback for Rain. But Cyrax got nerfed to the point where it doesn't allow me to keep my turn after pokes into Geyser, into Cyrax. It pushes me back or pushes the opponent back. So I have to cancel or I have to get super close. Striker still allows me to do that. That's why I still play this team. Janet and so on and so forth are really good cameos for this character. But the way that I like to play and makes sense for me and have fun for me, I like to play this team. It also covers my options if I wanted to do something like this. And I believe quote me if I'm wrong, but these two characters, Rain and Striker, were announced together, or they were not announced together, but they were showing gameplay of what you could do with this team in the trailer or so. Quote me if I'm wrong. I apologize. But yeah. Another thing too is that I can start covering my options, my cancels, if I want to keep my turn. This is guaranteed. There's nothing that my opponent can do. If it's like Rain, if it was like Scorpion, then yeah. But her, she really can't do anything. Because this all kind of jails. And I can also bait with this character. So now I can do this. And I can go in, mix. I can even do things like this, grab them, and so on and so forth. And then after I throw them to the ground, I can call Striker to continue my pressure. And then I can do the same thing. So essentially, if I wanted to and my opponent was mashing, I could take my turn back with that. And yes, this is all real. So that's another way that poke cancel makes sense to me. I hope you guys find ways to make poke cancel make sense for you. Have fun with the game. If you guys have any comments or any concerns about the video that I'm showing you or breaking down and what poke cancels really mean, how to figure out if your down one into special move actually jails, and all these other questions that you may have, you can ask me down low in the description. You also will find a link for the Discord. I appreciate you guys as always. It's your boy Jay-Z. I'm out.